Hi, I'm Jamie Ruby from Sci-Fivision.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, how are you doing? It's nice to
Good. We're
talk to
just
you.
having our own. We're just having our party. Welcome to the party. What's your name? I'm so sorry I missed it.
Jamie Ruby from Sci-Fivision. It's nice to talk to both of you.
Hi,
And
Jamie.
Sean, I actually met you at least over 15 years ago. I couldn't even figure out how long ago it was, but long time ago.
It's lovely to see you again.
So yes, nice to talk to you again.
We're
I
both aging
absolutely,
well, I should say.
yeah. I absolutely love the film. I probably cried too much, but I cry really easy. So, but I loved it. So, can you both start to talk about what do you want people to take away from the film? Whoever wants to go first.
What do you want people to take away from the film?
Well, it's an emotional journey. Like you were saying, I really appreciate that you were saying that you were emotional watching it. I'm an easy crier myself, wife and 3 kids. The film has space to breathe, literally in the frame, the different frames. Like it wants you to see all the street. It wants you to see the whole lake, and so I feel like that's an invitation for people to lean in and have that emotional journey. And I guess what I'd love is for people to see it in the theater and for them at the end of it to feel kind of like, wow, like that was an experience. There's something that's heavy on it. And what I have faith about is that people will continue to think about the ideas in the film long after you see it. And you will, and if you've felt something, if you're tired from the experience or kind of, I don't know, exhilarated and tired, if the weight of the experience of the movie is on you, it's going to make reflecting on some of the ideas of the movie, that each choice you make in life can send you in a completely different direction. And who are we, and what is the accumulation of our choices brought us to today? I think that could be a nice little
Lesson.
yeah.
It's interesting. There's a ratification right now. Sean was a huge player in the strike part of the negotiating team. So he crushed it. He and the team crushed it for all of the actors at SAG and AFTRA over the course of this last 7 months. And right now there's a contract that's being like we're talking about ratifying a contract.
Mhm.
The vote is back in the members' hands, and apparently, people have a choice to vote yes, and then one thing is going to happen, or to vote no, and then we're going to go back to striking. And it's a really interesting where our choices matter.
Yep.
And we live in a world where we see things with AI and with TikTok and with all of these distractions of like, well, does it really, it's social media, like, is it really a lie if I'm projecting a reality that I want, but it's not really mine? Versus like your character eats food. It's very, very,
He's an
very
eater.
temporal and real and in the body stuff. My character runs, and he is like physically, it's just constantly being physically challenged. There's something about this story that is supposed to remind us of our humanity. It's supposed to remind us about the relationships and who we're in relationship with. It is a story. There is a faith element. It's the book of Job from the Old Testament, sort of told in a multiverse sci-fi wrapping. And the idea is Bob Dylan had this amazing song, you got to serve somebody. It's the Lord or the devil, but you got to serve somebody. And this idea is, who are you in relationship with? Do you want to accept the devil's offer and be in relationship with him? Or do you want to accept God's offer, which doesn't feel like an offer? It's just this love that comes at you, but you don't see it. And you don't, until through being tested and tried and endurance and faith and hope, you realize that your life is this incredible story being told.
You've got me comparing it now with the union stuff. We spent 8 months. Like the cosmology of the union is, 50 people in a room for 8 months, and now the decisions are being made by individual people. And each individual person may or may not realize how important their decision is, but it does. It affects them in their life. It affects all of their colleagues. It affects the whole industry. So I feel like, like your character, your Kevin, is one of those people who could just be one of a trillion different people. But you are distinguished by, for some reason, your commitment to make a choice.
stand for something or refuse something.
Refuse something, yeah.
To refuse
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
to say no. It's
Right. What?
like, no to what? He's like, oh, yeah.
Hey, don't get me started. Really read it.
I was just gonna say, going back to the characters, what was the hardest part you both had connecting with your character? Was there any part of it that like you had a hard time, just kind of connecting with for either of you?
My answer is a quick no. I read Brock Heasley, the creator, the writer, and the director of the film. He spent 8 years crafting this story, and it came. His father, and this isn't me speaking out of school. He almost lost his father to gun violence when he was 13 years old, and then he did lose his father to gun violence when he was 17. So he's a boy, which I know that girls have teenage years too, and it's very different. For boys, it's a really wild time, and to lose your father in that moment set him in a course that really needed a lot of course correction. And this story is the way that he processed his grief, and it's the way that he dealt with his trauma, and it was born out of so much trial and tribulation. So for me to read that, it was so beautifully, the architecture of the story was so beautifully composed that I didn't have a lot of conflicts. There weren't a lot of bumps for me because, I had a lot of runway too, though. Like Kevin, there was a lot for me to work with. So it wasn't like I was like, wait, hold on, I have to do this and why? And,
we had a scene together where I sort of speared him away from this crowd, and then we're kind of crouched down hiding. And there was a moment where I'm supposed to be, upset because he's trying to describe God, or you're like, what do you believe in? So, and like, he kind of makes me interested in the idea, but I don't get there. There's just a moment there where I was supposed to be really upset about the fact that I couldn't find God. Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of angry with him, but pleading with him or whatever. And it's only kind of fleetingly in the moment, but when we were doing it, I just remember thinking like, that's not enough. Like, well, we got to do it again. Like, it's got to be that idea is more important than however we just did it. So can we do it again? Can we do it again? Can we do it again? And then finally it was like, when you hit, it's like a tuning fork. When you hit a certain thing with the tuning fork and you listen to it, you're like, okay, this level of emotion honors that concept.
Yeah. I got to be honest with you. You've been doing this for it's your life, it's your legacy, and 40 years of doing this. I've been doing it for 20. That scene where we're up against the wall crouched was one of my favorite scenes to ever work on, actor to actor. It was like it suddenly became sacred, for the purpose of trying to find the right frequency and just connecting and breathing and really being honest. And such a treat to watch you work. It was a really cool moment.
The thing that was hard about it, you asked what was hard. The thing that was hard was when the importance of a concept, and then there's like a gap between how you're feeling because you're tired or whatever, and you're like, it's a little. Brock knew what he wanted with every frame of the movie. He had thought through everything, and so as an actor, you can kind of drop into that and just be there. But then at a certain moment, you're kind of tested. You're kind of tested, like, are you like really here? Are you really? Do you care about what you're doing? And and the answer always has to be yes, but it doesn't make it any easier. And there's just a moment where we just, like, actor to actor, we just kind of were like, okay, let's not leave this moment without honoring this moment. Whatever that's in the movie or barely in the movie or whatever, there's like, it was pretty powerful. It was a breakthrough. It was
cool.
Yeah.
It was a great scene. All right. Well, thank you, both of you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I really very much enjoyed the movie. So it was great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good rest of your day.
On whatever planet that is behind you.
Yeah.
I love your background.
Thank you. I think it's the moon. Somebody asked me if it was Earth. I think it's actually the moon. I'm not entirely sure. It's stopped.
It's been civilized, though. Look, the moon has it's been colonized.
I don't know. All right. Well, have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.